The year is 2056. Someone or something has broken into the main defense computer and is blocking access to the backup system. Of course, if the program controlling our nuclear weapons, which happens to be on there, systems is altered, our planet could be reduced to a pile of cinders in seconds. Conflict is unavoidable. So we built a bed. The new image transfer system, just now being developed, looks like it'll be our last hope. The image transfer system, an amazing process that allows a human mind to be converted to raw binary data, making it possible to travel easily inside computer circuits. But the conversion system's completely untested. If a human mind is changed into raw data, what form will it take when it's reassembled inside the computer? What changes to the psyche could the procedure cause? No one knows. But we're doing it anyways, or rather this guy is. The man chosen for this dangerous mission. Colonel Scott O'Connor, age 25, sex male, anime, yes, well-trained in body and spirit and knowledgeable in computer hardware and software. He's the perfect choice. That knowledge will be very helpful when you're trapped inside of a computer. Now, stretching himself out on the image transfer machine, he is preparing for a trip to try to save his country, ... His civilization, ... His people. Kabuki Quantum Fighter, released in 1991 by HAL America, but developed by Human Entertainment. This game it feels like a hidden gem at times. I know HAL's name's on it, and even in Europe, it was actually published by Nintendo. But it's honestly a pretty solid game. I played this game around the same time that I played Vice Project Doom for the NES, way back in like 2005. And while Vice Project Doom, and I even mentioned during that Let's Play, is very Ninja Gaiden-like, there's a couple other games on the system that are like that as well, and Kabuki's an excellent example. It has the cutscenes of it, the combat is very similar to Ninja Gaiden, and it's honestly a really solid game. It's a bit short, nothing too bad. Like, it's 6 stages and the last stage is just a boss fight, but it's honestly fun and really well animated too. It holds up pretty well. But I feel like most people don't know about it because I don't think it's ever had a Virtual Console re-release. Like Vice has, and I feel like Vice got a spike in interest because of that, but this one kind of forgotten for the most part. But there might be a reason for that. So reading up on the Japanese version of the game, I thought, okay, you're playing as a Kabuki character. They probably changed it a little bit, but it's probably more or less a straightforward translation, right? Wrong. This was a movie tie-in game in Japan. Well, tie-in in like the loosest sense. So apparently in 1990, a movie named Zipang, it might be Jipang, I don't know the language well enough, came out starring a character named, and I'm gonna butcher this pronunciation, Jigoku Gokuraku Maru. And that is also the name of this game. The movie was about a group of thieves and a samurai going on an adventure trying to find a lost city of gold. This game is named after that character in Japan, but you play as a distant descendant of his in the year 2015. In the year 2015, their computer systems have been hacked and are turning back and mutating back in time into a golden pyramid. So they send in an ancestor of Jigoku Gokuraku Maru, a 15-year-old boy named Bobbiano. And the best part is, Bobbiano looks exactly like the guy does in the movie. He looks like Goku's face. But like, it feels so awkwardly realistic compared to everything else in the game that it's almost uncomfortable in a way. But yeah, we didn't get that movie over here, at least not properly, so they changed it to Kabuki Quantum Fighter, which is kind of a kick-ass name in a way. But it's sort of the same and sort of different. I'll highlight some stuff as we're going through, but we can mostly chill with the version we got. So let's hop into it now. So in the title screen, we gotta be careful. If we press start, it actually skips the opening cutscene. So you have to press A to get this. Mission control. Have you finished all the preparations? All right, proceed. If the text seems like it's going really fast, it's because I'm pressing the A button, and that speeds things through. Same with the opening cutscene, weirdly enough. Like the pre-title screen card, I can just increase the speed for some reason. But since it auto-proceeds there, it's a bit awkward. ... That's a lot of dots. I ain't doing all those dots. The transfer is completed. Colonel, can you hear us? This is Scott. Yep, looks just like him. I seem to have made it into the system, but I look like a sweet robot. I also have a hankering for Wendy's. But the form I've taken... A Kabuki character? What is this? Wasn't your great-great-grandfather Danjuro the renowned Kabuki actor? Ah, yes. Ah, yes. Famous, important knowledge to have in the year 2065, I'm sure. Maybe he has finally had some influence on you. Oh, one more thing. I find it interesting, the idea of having a computer essentially dictate and choose what you would be represented and look like in the internet, essentially. Like, imagine if someone just let other people or other programs essentially decide what you look like on the internet. That'd be weird. Ha 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 ha. We've transported some weapons that use the energy inside the computer. They will help you get deep into the control sections of the system. Do you copy? Roger. Wait, no, I'm Scott. Sorry, I got confused. Over and out. And now, we're inside the computer. Round 1 start. Apparently, that code you saw in the background is actually somewhat similar to the assembly code that you would normally see being used while building an NES game. So that's actually a super neat touch. I believe it is not actually proper assembly. I'm a bit rusty on my assembly for that, but it looks cool regardless. Behold, Scott, the Kabuki quantum fighter. Scott can whip his hair back and forth and also punch the kidneys. Work the kneecaps. He can also jump, and by pressing select, he can use projectiles. Projectiles are weaker than your hair, and also take your chip ammo. So that's how it's very Ninja Gaiden-like. Obviously, you've got your sword equivalent, which is your hair. You thought Shantae was the first one to do it. Nope, Scott was here first. Scott led the way so Shantae could dance and stab things with hair. And I guess, to a lesser extent, Bayonetta, I guess. Thanks, Scott. The feel for this is honestly pretty solid. Like, the physics are really good for jumping like that. It moves well, it flows well. Your projectile sucks, but you get better ones later on. But one of the things I really like about this game is the grabbing mechanic. So they put a lot of these little ledges you can grab onto along the way. But the animation for them is really smooth for the NES. Like, look at how fluid that is. There's 3 different levels of jumps you can do with it too. There's the light jump, there's the medium jump, and the heavy jump. And you need to use all 3 to get through all the stages, like, unharmed. Like, it's honestly impressive how well that, such a simple mechanic flows so well. When I played through this the first time, I was legit surprised at, like, how solid of a game this was. Even though it's also very nonsensical in a way, it's very quirky. I can't think of many games that are even like this, despite this being a Ninja Gaiden-like. But then again, this is Human Entertainment, the same guys who made Monster Party, and there aren't many games like Monster Party either, so I guess it makes a lot of sense. Even though this is a Ninja Gaiden, like I mentioned, there's really not much in the way of pickups, or as you've probably noticed at this point. There's just the standard pickups you get from enemies, no containers, that's it. Well, that worked fine for Vice, because Vice predetermined your pickups. This one does the same as well. Now, let me see here. That didn't hit. It is still just a bit surprising and odd to get used to, especially if you're more used to Ninja Gaiden. Okay, it was just a standard heal. Also, it doesn't help that these are like giant heads that are just shooting missiles out of their head, like out of their brain, out of their forehead, but they're also like wearing sunglasses the whole time. I don't know if any of this is actual reference to the Zipang movie. I'm going to assume not, but it definitely feels really out there. There might also be some yokai reference here that I'm also not getting as well, especially considering, well, we're playing as a Kabuki character. It could just be like folklore stuff, but it's really just a fascinating game. Main collectibles, as you've probably noticed at this point, are health and chip pickups. There's 2 versions of each. And I'm gonna get none of them to show up when I want to talk about it too, of course. Yep, not a single one. You? There we go. Flashing ones are worth 2 or 3, depending on the meter. 3 chips, 2 health pips. Non-flashing are just worth 1. Nope. But there's also another mechanic to keep in mind. At the end of every stage, your time gets tallied up, but so does your health and your chips. And the game gives you extra health or extra chip, depending on how high up your meter is. You get, I think, it's roughly 5 extra pips for each meter at the end of a stage. You do not get fully healed. This is an important thing to know. You don't get a full health heal. But now we have to fight our first boss, a very flippy dude who has the power of fire. He also has a charging punch you need to be careful of, and he just moves around a lot. You can use your chips if you want, but considering they don't do that much damage and the range is not much better than the hair, you're better off just kind of tanking it. There's also one more mechanic we can show as well, if we can take him down quickly here. There we go. If you pause at any point during a boss fight, and this is in the manual, this is not a cheat code, this is straight up in the manual, pressing up or down on the D-pad moves your health and your chip meter between each other. So if you want to focus on one, if you want to get more health for a fight, if you're going to do melee, or if you want to go all out and use your chips, you can choose. Or you can combine them evenly. And honestly, evenly is kind of the way to go since you get an increase at the end of each fight. So at the end of after you've killed a boss, it's a good idea to just adjust both to kind of maximize things. It's actually a really cool mechanic, but it only works in boss fights. Which, to be fair, that's when you would want it to work. You can also speed this up too. There we go. Attention! Nothing else, just gonna say attention, alright. An invader in the program area. He's doing sick kicks. Enemy name? I don't know. Weapon? Still haven't figured that out either. A foot, I guess. His speed is 285. His stamina is 1856. His defense is 619. Booyaka booyaka. His attack is 904. And his cot? CDT? Cot? His sleepiness is 110. I don't know what that one's supposed to reference. Maybe that's his, maybe they just really like his foot. We rated his foot 110 cots. The defense system in Area 1 has been destroyed. He is proceeding to Area 2. You must find the access point immediately and cut off the invasion route. And now we get a nice little anime look. Your energy gun's power has been increased. Good, because it kind of sucked. Round 1 clear. Round 2 start. Now, we have the more powerful shot. Goes full screen and does better damage, although maybe not the best enemy to show it on since this guy already takes a couple slashes from your hair anyways. A much better projectile, so we don't even need to bother worrying about that. The downside is they go in order when you pick them, so you have to go past them no matter what. And some enemies just take a lot of hits like that bug. All right, well, welcome to the sewers of the computer, because of course we can't have a game like this without a sewer scene of some way, shape, or form. But now we get to do more sick flips. And get blocked, okay. Now might be a good time to actually use that projectile, huh? Perfect. Like we mentioned before, and like in Vice Project Doom, enemies do have their drops predetermined, so some of them will actually drop 1-ups for you. So if you can memorize where those are, they will always be in the same spot. You don't always have to go out of your way to do that, and I cost myself some health by doing that. Because like I said, the game isn't that hard. It is more challenging than I expected going back to it. I remember when I played this originally, I did beat it my first time playing it, but I'm also pretty well versed in Ninja Gaiden games, and I think I'd actually come right off of Vice going into Kabuki. So I more or less knew what to expect, but the downside is this game does have limited continues. You only get 2. But it's also not that long a game, so I guess they didn't really think it was worth adding in more than that. You also do get a couple chances for 1-ups. There's no coin collecting system like in Vice. And there actually are more 1-ups than there were in Ninja Gaiden. You even can't get a chance to get score-based 1-ups if you're doing well enough, but I think the game is probably a half hour long. And there's really, as I found when I came back to practice this for the playthrough, there's only a couple places where you need to worry about getting a game over or even losing lives. And this is one of the rooms. Because you get 50 seconds to get through this area. My first time playing through that, I didn't notice that. Because I thought, oh man, like, they give us plenty of time to go through the stages. Why would they, there's gonna be no point where it's like really tight. Nope, this room, they give you like no time to get through it. I mean, we'll be fine by the end because I know to expect it, but my first time through, I was just like, wait, why did I die? Oh, there's a time limit? Those can run out? I don't even think it even makes a sound when it's running low, which is the other thing that threw me off. Oh, and then there's this jump here. If you do this, you get a 1-up. Hooray. And now we're at the end of the stage. Like, the stage is really short. You just have to, like, you can't take your time, which is the crazy thing. Let's see if it makes a jingle. No, nothing. You just have to be paying attention. All right. Fair enough. All right, we'll work with it. We're here, we're done. Let's fight the boss. Boss number 2, another flippy man. This one does backflips and sweet kicks. This one might be a bit more worth using our fireball. Every 2 hits is actually doing that, but unfortunately, the shot they fire out, the Gemini laser here, actually stays on screen for a bit. It does 3 transfers. God, these bosses are so weird. Like, their movement is so fast, it's so hard to get on them at times. Oh, you didn't actually do 3 shots last time. What's going on here? They also clone as well to be more like Gemini Man, but that's a nice pose we got there on him. Let me just quickly balance that back out. Beautiful. Ooh, even with the flick. We got the flick pose. Nice. There we go. And the extra health and the extra chips, and we're good for stage 3. Or are we? The Colonel has been apprehended in the program area. Has he though? We seem pretty fine. There's doctors, I think. Disaster! The Colonel's brain waves have stopped. His life support system is holding up, but he won't survive long this way. Quick, find another attack route. I'm trying to reach him. Meanwhile, in chibi form, the fusion gun has been added to your arsenal. Hooray! That scene doesn't happen at all in the Japanese version. The dude's like never in trouble. I think they're literally talking about how something is literally transforming the city back into the city of gold. Like that, I think that's the whole dialogue. Like it's weird. And even in this case, they're like, disaster! Oh my God, his body's going to die. We're perfectly fine. There's like no tension. Although, if you want some tension, this stage sucks. This was where when I played through this as I can't even say teenager anymore, I guess. As a young adult, I ended up kind of continuing here because this stage is a little rough. And even when I came back to try this game out, this stage is also rough too because there's a lot of perfect jumps they want you to do, including these stupid ice platforms. These ice platforms actually like lock your speed into place. You cannot accelerate or decelerate. You're just stuck going like that. And your jump is in this weird lock pattern. It's strange. I'm just gonna tank this, it's just easier. Thankfully, you can destroy these turrets that are shooting at you. You can use your fireballs as well if you want, if your aim's true. But originally when I played through, I didn't realize they were destructible. And since they drop power-ups, oh God, you have to make sure you're doing that. You have to make sure you destroy those. Here, let's try this. That's gonna miss. We just jump over, and we missed again. Wow, okay, good job, Scott. We've also got a new gun. We've got the fusion gun, which you probably wouldn't think does, oops, yeah, there's that locking into place because of the ice thing. You probably wouldn't expect it to do what it does, although you look at the icon, it's a pretty safe guess. It is a 3-way shot. Oh, yep, I can't turn around. There we go. She hit that gear, it didn't damage me, surprisingly. The 3-way shot is great for dealing with some of these guys, but also you can just carefully whip your hair and be fine. But there's nothing wrong with having a spread shot, it's just, it only really helps on the vertical stages. Even then, its uses are a little weird. So even when we're hanging here, we actually have a way to attack this nice, also really well animated kick. But a lot of enemies are out of range when you do it, so it's not really good until the final stage, more or less. But it looks sick. And I think that's one of the main perks about this game. Like, a lot of things look really cool in this game. Oh, okay, well, that was not the target I was aiming for. Really? Really? There we go, third time's the charm. I'm just gonna stick with the hair. For some reason, I always just find that the hair is the best option for just normal combat. It's honestly better to save your chips for the boss fights if you choose to use them there at all. Or, you know, as backup for extra health. That also helps. Okay. I'm so bad at getting through that without getting damaged, but we've honestly got, like, almost full health right now. We're doing really good. And just to show, I can't adjust my health or chips right now. I'm mashing up and down the D-pad. But I can change my sub-weapon if you don't like doing that when the game's running, just for simplicity's sake. How far do you go? Okay, come on. Come on. I think we are pretty much done this stage already. This one's not long either, right? Yeah, it's just an annoying vertical climb. If you don't deal with those turrets, you're gonna take a lot of damage. Yeah, we have full health, but Chip's not looking so great. Which is why our third boss is a giant floating alien head that spits. Oh, mate, nope, never mind, didn't want to spit this time. It bounces back and forth anywhere from 1 to 4 times and then spits out some acid. Sometimes you have to jump over it, sometimes you can just duck under it. Apparently it really wants me to jump. Now this one's up to you. You can choose to kind of fight this guy slowly, or you can just tank the fight. Ooh. Whatever works best for you. I find tanking works better because usually you have a lot of health and the damage output he has is not that much if you're dodging correctly. But I've also never tried this. Okay, I don't think he is taking 3 hits from that. I think he's only taking the 1. Which is a bummer. Also, he cannot be hurt when he's red. Trust me, I tried that. That was like one of my first thoughts. So just get in, wail on him. Come on. Ugh, come on. I'm gonna try this again, actually. Is that actually taking like a full block? It might actually be doing more damage. Yeah, it actually did, holy shit. Never mind. But now we have like, yeah, well, let's do a split like that. Well, here's a better view of how much health we get back. So 5 go in, and we get 9. Oh, so we only get 4 increase. Chips are a little better. At last, our hero has been linked up with the program area. His present location. Having destroyed the defenses in Area 3, it's literally called Area 3 that you're in, he is proceeding into Area 4. Colonel, answer! Colonel O'Connor! This is Scott. I don't know. He says it the same way every time. And it's always with that robotic deadpan stare that makes me laugh every time. It's like, his catchphrase is literally, this is Scott. Also, it's the redness of the hair is like very Wendy's, very Ronald McDonald. It always throws me off. I could also just be really hungry right now. I think that's more likely. Why were the communication lines disrupted after that last big shockwave? Your entry point has been sealed off. Yeah, you can't get back to your body anymore. Sorry about that. After you destroyed the defense circuits in Area 3, we found a special circuit, and there's a new batch of enemies. Get to the defense circuits in Area 4 as fast as you can. And back to chibi form. It's a really cute chibi sprite. I really like it a lot. And this is actually the same in the Japanese version, too. It's really just that portrait that this is Scott portrait that shows up that's different. And I don't think I've still fully gotten over that either. Quantum bombs have been added to your weapons list. Round 3 clear. Quantum bombs, a phenomenal weapon, simply because it's literally dynamite. You just whip dynamite forward. It rules. It does a lot of damage. It goes pretty far, and it's honestly really great for bosses. It has a high explosion radius, like it is literally a stick of dynamite. It's pretty damn good. Downside is it uses a lot of chips, so you're gonna have to be careful on your chip meter. And we were already kinda low because we were just going a little too ham on that last boss. All right, let's get rid of you, and then let's take the upper path, which I think is the way we have to go anyways. Oh, you know, one thing I actually realized, this is the stage that made me realize it. There are no pits in this game. There's no pitfalls to fall into or die in. All that stuff down there is just damaging ground. So, I think that's one of the reasons I feel this game is easier than Ninja Gaiden or even Vice. And, well, that and 1-ups are pretty easy to find at times. The downside is you have to be careful with how you jump. As long as you have good jump control, like that was a medium jump there to get through that. Like, you won't really have too much problem. But then there's a lot of weird shit like this. Apparently, Zeephang the movie is sort of futuristic in a way, even though it definitely takes place in ancient times. So, I think it reflects that a bit better in that version of the game. But also, I just really like the fact that everything looks like it's slowly being corrupted because of whatever's messing with the computer. You eventually find out, shockingly, it's a virus. So, like, you can just slowly see things being corrupted in the background, which is just really fucking cool. As weird as the presentation is in this game, and how, like, I don't even think as a kid I really would have gotten into this, because I wouldn't know what a Kabuki is. I think it's actually really cool. Also, I guess I didn't talk about this either. The box art for this game kind of rules, because A, it has like this quantum leap feeling to it and look. We've got like all these like special effects around you. The text looks really cool, like really cybernetic and futuristic. But at the same time, you've just got this Kabuki guy who also just looks like just a generic dude who just is like, yep, I'm here. It's me, I'm the quantum fighter. I guess I'll save the internet or something. I don't know what it is about it, but it's an incredible box art. It's high, it's top tier NES. I could use a little more health, game. If you would like to drop some more for me, I would really appreciate it. I'm not worried about this boss fight, I just want more health. I think these guys up here drop some. No, you drop that. Yeah, I think you drop a flashing heart. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Bit more, some more life chips. Now, I don't know why, there's two separate doors we can take here, but they both lead to the exact same spot, nothing changes, so I'm just gonna go get a tiny bit more health. Nope, they went off screen. They did respawn though, and that was the one that didn't have any. Oh, well, I'm out. Actually, we should be pretty close to top on both with that, right? Yeah, that's pretty close to full. Yeah, on both, honestly. All right, it's time to use some dynamite. We have to fight this robot, and as you can see in the back, it's got two little bits that are moving around that are shooting bullets at me. We're gonna just fucking huck dynamite at it. Oh, I should aim better than that. That one. Ooh. Ooh, you're not gonna come down, are you? What the heck? You've never done that before. Go figure. So now, while it's up here, we can just huck dynamite at it. And we don't have to really worry about anything. The boss is pretty simple at this point now. Downside is, when you run out of dynamite, you can't really hit it anymore. I don't know if the fusion gun is a better choice at that point. But to get the boss off the ceiling, you need to let it shoot at you twice. But you have to be careful because the shot is pretty fast. So now it'll bounce around a bunch and then eventually it'll settle down and you can fight it normally. There we go. Honestly, another situation where you're just probably gonna want to tank damage. I really wish we hadn't wasted so much dynamite. But I think we should be able to... Uh-oh. Nope, we're in trouble. Same deal. 2 shots. Bounce around a bunch. I think it has hit the ground 3 times or 4 times? 4. There we go. And I'm gonna put a couple points into chips because I think, actually I'm gonna put a little, yeah. Might be a risky move, but I'm gonna do this specifically because we want to have a balance of both. And honestly, it helps the life you get back pretty fast. Chip can be a bit annoying at times. Hopefully this wasn't a poor decision. We've pinpointed the enemy's invasion route. It's coming up on the monitor. The satellite Hyperion. Wait, look at the monitor. It's the Hyperion research satellite. But I thought it had been lost years ago. Are you sure it's the Hyperion? Of course I'm sure. But it looks like it's being controlled by the computer. Our own satellite, used in battle against us. How is this research satellite combating you? I mean, I guess the implication is that the satellite is connected to the network. But if they lost it years ago, like, you'd think they would have, like, shut down that connection? Or changed the connection? Or, like, updated you know what? I was gonna say updated security, but as someone who has had to do computer repairs, no one does that. No one with an important job ever does that, and it's annoying. I don't know why I thought this group would do that. But I thought all of our space probes were built with a self-destruct device. Can't we just blow it up? See, that's smart thinking. Just end it all. Get rid of it. It's not that simple. Of course not. We wouldn't have a game otherwise. The program to run it is stored in Area 5. We numbered our areas of computer just to make things easier. There's no way to get at it. We can't get at it. This is Scott. Colonel, did you hear that? Can you get in and knock out the defense system in Area 5? Roger. Sorry, I got my name wrong again. Scott, on my way. You can now use the remote control bolo. Round 4 clear. I don't know why they call it a bolo. You might know it better as homing missiles? It's great for regular enemies, but it sucks on bosses. At least that's what I found. You might have a different mileage on that. But also, there's not many situations where I felt it was worth the cost of chips, especially when you want to save your chips for fighting the bosses. And since the dynamite is usually the better weapon for bosses, it was my preferred go-to option. So I basically played through the game, and we'll be doing this for the most part, this playthrough, without using the bolo that much. All right, here we go. I think this is another one-up out of you. Or is it your friend? Hey, there we go, another one up. And let's get, hopefully, some health. And a dead end, so unfortunately we do have to go back. But again, this just highlights the fact that there's no pits to worry about, so you can just do a lot of exploring and jumping all you want. And just be careful you don't touch anything that damages you. Like that green pulsating brain down there, that will damage you. More ice. Ah, the ice is going to be the annoying thing to worry about. The jumping is weird when you're speed of control. This is the perfect place to show this off. Notice that at the peak of the jump, I suddenly accelerate a little bit when falling back down. And it's not just gravity, like you get a bit more forward momentum. It's a little weird to get used to, especially for an NES game of all things. And it makes, and it makes the conveyor belt platforming and the ice platforming, you know, just that bit more annoying. And now it's time to make sure you have proper control of your jumps. So you know the different levels of jumps you can do with this thing, because they're gonna make sure they hammer it directly into you. Or I guess spike it into you in this case. One second. Oops, tapped twice. You also now have spikes that just kind of zoom around and go in weird spiral patterns. So they'll just keep going more and more until they get to the middle and then just leave. It's a weird attack pattern, but it bizarrely works because I think you just don't expect it. Case in point. Oh God. The one downside is I'm not really getting any enemies to get any health off of because I don't think I can fight these things. This is a good place to test this. Yeah, no hitbox. So unfortunately, I just have to make do with the health I have. And this is why I was a little worried about putting too much into chips in the last stage. I don't really give myself too much health to get through this proper. But we're done. We have, I don't know why I'm worried. We have 6 lives right now. We're doing fine. And here's the other thing. This room now, this is the last platforming stage of the game. After this, it's just boss fights and cutscenes. So we're essentially done the main game now, and honestly, the platforming for this vertical stage is nowhere near as bad as it was for the one in Area 3. It's really straightforward, but it also really wants you to get used to hanging. So this is the big test of the hanging mechanic. If you haven't figured it out at this point, this is where you're gonna eat it. But they also didn't screw up the timer like they did in Area 3. Like, you have plenty of time here. And as long as you remember your weapons, you don't really have much to worry about. You can do most of this with just hair and then every now and then switch over to the fusion gun for the split shot. You're golden. The one true downside, though, is if you fall, you are falling a long way. Be very careful where you land, because enemies do respawn. At least the enemies that don't drop items usually do. So, you know, fun things like that. But this is an amazing part that just really highlights the flow of just your movement. This is what feels so smooth. And it's the same reason I like Ninja Gaiden so much. Because Ninja Gaiden has this flow to it. Like, once you get used to the speed of your character and the way you attack, just movement feels so fluid and so fun. The better you get at it, the more... it would be while I'm saying the better you get at it, I would fall like that. The better you get... God damn it! The better you get at it, the more satisfying it feels and the more fluid everything feels and looks. But then, I guess that also highlights when you screw up that much more. But when you are in tune with everything, God, it feels so satisfying. And that's why I like these kind of games. It's the kind of feeling like every game has that to a point, you know, like your zen moment with it. And you don't always hit that with some games, but like when you do, that's what makes them so addictive and so satisfying. So that's why I like Ninja Gaiden games, and that's why I like people like, you know, Tetris games, stuff like that. Anything that lets you kind of zone out and just feel the flow of everything. That's the thing I like about gaming. It's so fun just to get into that trance, that feeling of satisfaction of just knowing what you're doing and just enjoying everything. And with all that, I think we're pretty much at the end of this too. They were really proud of this flipping motion. I can see why, because it's so fluid, but man, they really wanted you to climb a lot. Okay, we're at... I think we're actually full on both things right now. I don't think there's anything we can... I don't think there's anything left to damage us. Oh, this thing is. But yeah, no, that is all the platforming in the game. From here on out, it's just bosses. Yeah, no, full health, full chips. What's our boss? A giant robot! With a little thing on the top we gotta punch. So this boss is a little interesting in the fact that it shoots a little beam here, but if you're paying attention, you can actually jump over its shot because the shot is small when it starts. The timing has to be better than what I'm doing here. So what I'm gonna do actually is I'm gonna hang on to my chips as much as I can and just kind of put them into my health later. Because otherwise, you can tank that boss no problem. Yeah, that should probably do. Stay up here, whip our hair a bit. Oh God, our hair! We've got a flat top! Alright, well, we don't have full health. We're one square off, but that's another boss down. We have failed. Excuse me? Is it because my hair got cut? The enemy has deactivated the Hyperion self-destruct program. Is there anything we can do on this end? Nothing. Well, maybe there is something we can do. If we can get the kernel into Hyperion's main computer, he might be able to reactivate it directly. It's our only chance. This is Scott! Oh my God, he actually says it! I thought he didn't then! I heard what you said. Get me there now. Is that okay, Colonel? The transmission program's running now. Welcome to space! Kabuki, Quantum Space Fighter. You're approaching the final battle. Round 5 clear. It is time for the final boss fight. Round 6, start. It's a fucked up Guyver enemy. It's really fucking weird. Although at this point, you've probably figured out what's going on. It's a virus that's corrupted everything. It's gone all wiggly and gross. So now we need to fight it. But the first form, and yes, it's a Ninja Gaiden game, so of course it has more than one form, kind kind of easy. Literally just wait here. It shoots fireballs, just run underneath it. Whip it with your hair. It is almost comically straightforward. As long as you're patient, and you have plenty of time for this boss fight. I don't know why that one stage is the only stage where they make the time limit an actual threat. As long as you're patient, you got nothing to worry about. That is until we get to Form 2. Now you've noticed there's some ledges you can use up there as well to attack from, or like just jump down on. I didn't find them that useful. Although, for the second form, you're probably gonna need them when you run out of chips. But luckily, I think we got enough to do this just fine. Famous last words. A couple more hair whips, and then the real fight begins. Although, you might notice there's this dead zone for the, for the sprites here. Makes it a little bit harder to hit. Switch to dynamite! Because it's time for the real fight. All right. The head is still the target. When it opens up this little laser cannon, oops, I grabbed that by accident. That's when you start fighting it. Throw dynamite at it for big damage. I keep getting myself killed if I'm not careful here. I actually want to keep some health to switch over to chips in case we needed to. But I think, based on the fact he's got 1 hit point, we've got a lot left. Booyah. No problem. And if you want to, just adjust it again. Yeah, let's do this. Sure. Yeah, we barely did it. Yep. Yep. Barely won that fight. Ooh, that was a toughie. And folks, that's it. That's the game. We're done. Get all them sweet, sweet points. But our 1-ups into points as well. 251,000 points, rather. And of course, our prize is dying. As you'd expect. A message from Hyperion. Mission accomplished. Now, for some reason, in the Japanese version, I don't know if this is a tie into Z-Pang or not. But the Hyperion is still a part of the game, but you use the Hyperion to crash into the actual thing that's causing all the problems, which is a floating magnetama that's in space, that is transforming the city back into the City of Gold. I don't know if that's a reference at all, but no matter what, the Hyperion is still used, and all the enemies are the same. The only thing that is different is the Stage 5 robot boss is red for some reason. Everything else is the same. It still ends with the Hyperion exploding, and with everyone not being sure if you survived. The self-destruct program has been reconnected. Were you able to recover the Colonel? Not yet. Of course, if he was still inside that program when Hyperion blew up. ... This is Scott! Control room, can you hear me? I love Kabuki's famous catchphrase, "This is Scott." It really resonates with me. It really makes me feel like I'm a guy named Scott. Colonel, we'd given you up for dead. I'd like to return to my body now. Kind of sick of this red hair. People keep confusing me for fast food mascots. Can you pick me up at the access point? Roger. That's not my name, it's Scott. The Hyperion research satellite has been reduced to space dust. According to the investigation that followed, while the Colonel was inside the satellite, the virus that had invaded the computer had grown and mutated at an extraordinary rate. The virus had taken the information from the computer banks and used it to spread terror across the universe? Their stated goal of conquering the known universe was almost realized. With knowledge of humans? But the human spirit and need for freedom are strong. Thanks to the efforts of valiant men like the Colonel, the spirit of peace lives on for all the peoples of planet Earth. but we must be ever vigilant. Who knows when this kind of terrorism might rise again? This is big go rest our weary heroes energy, isn't it? This is big, like, NES ending energy, which I know it's an NES game, but, like, it's such a non-ending ending in a way, like, the virus got bad. The universe was threatened, but we saved the planet Earth. We don't know if the rest of the universe was in trouble, but Earth is saved, and that's what matters. That's Kabuki Quantum, I keep saying word, Kabuki Quantum Fighter. I really like this game. It's pretty short, and I kind of wish it got some re-releases. But unfortunately, like I said, it's a movie tie-in in Japan, even if it's ridiculously loose as a movie tie-in. So don't exactly expect it to ever really pop up on Virtual Console proper, which is a shame. Like I said, it's fun. I really recommend it. You know how to play it. I don't need to tell you. You know how to find this. If you've been watching me this long, you know where to find this. But yeah, I recommend it. It's another fun Ninja Gaiden-like game, and other than the limited continues, it's not that bad. Nice and short, little wacky, and you know, you get to hear such great lines as "This is Scott." The end. The Japanese ending, I'm trying to remember how the dialogue goes, because there is an English translation of it, and that's mainly what I've been, like, getting my information from for it. But they tie it a little bit more into the movie a little bit. They talk about how the city was full of life as people begin to act in unison as if one being. The brain of the city is operating flawlessly, allowing for people to live comfortably. An investigation was started in the wake of the events, but it was destined to stall with many questions still to be answered. The object had been thought to be a projection of an image. Will the wheel of reincarnation forever turn throughout time? Will war transcend time, changing form and continuing forever? This is what makes me assume it's a tie-in to Zipang, because I assume that is some tie-in to the villain of the movie. At least that would make sense. The actual director of Zipang also worked on this game. So they intended to make it a tie-in. Even, like I said, it's a very loose tie-in. But that's the game, so let's get to talking about some cheat codes. First and foremost, on this screen where it says the end, just press the B button. That's it, just the B button. It brings up this cute little animation of Scott bobbing his head up and down saying, "I'll be back. Watch for my next adventure." He never had another adventure. I feel a little bad for Scott, and I wish there had been another game kind of like this gameplay-wise, but yeah, no, there was never a Kabuki Quantum Fighter 2. Or even like well, there was one more game that has Zipang character in it, Gijoku. I think, like, Seven Blades, I think is the name of the game, but that's like a PS2 game or something like that. But, yeah, no, that's it for Scott, sadly. But at least while he's bobbing his head, we can listen to some music. Check the soundtrack. So I looked on GameFAQs to see this code, because I remember when I was playing through this game, finding this myself, and the code on GameFAQs mentions for some reason holding like select, down, and B? Yeah. Hit the down, B, and select buttons, and an option for sound test will appear. You just have to press the B button. That's it. None of that other stuff's needed. So I don't know why that's even there, but I guess something on GameFAQs not being fully correct is not surprising, as someone who's been burned by some guides. And also, it still works because you're still pressing the B button. Yeah, here you go. That's the sound test. And there is one more thing to show off as well. There is actually another cheat code. But I need a second controller, so I'm going to need a minute to go find that. I'll catch you after the cut. Where does that jingle play? Wait a minute. Where does that play in the game? Weird. Alright, this code's a little excessive, so I can see why people wouldn't have found this normally, but if it works well. On your second controller on the title screen, press the A button 8 times. Do it faster. Do it. Do it a little faster. And don't talk over it, and maybe you'll be fine. A, 8 times. B, 4 times. Right, 16 times. Then press start on the first controller if you did it correctly. So I'm not sure if I did. Wow, that took a lot of tries, but I got it. I had to switch controls around for this, but yeah, no. A 8 times, B 4 times, and right 16 times on the second controller before the title screen goes away. And then you can press up and down on this screen to pick what stage. Why does it go that high? Ooh, there aren't that many screens. Oh my god. Oh my god, these are all the sprites. Yeah, that's the word the end. What happens if I go to round X? I'm afraid to find out what's about to happen. Crash the fucking game! I'm gonna put the code in again, shit! Okay, we got it again. I want to try round 0. I'm curious to see what happens if I do this. Oh no, it's still the first stage. Anything different? No, it seems about the same. All right, but there is one thing that actually is different. It turns out that code has a couple different applications. Number 1, make sure I'm reading this correctly. Yep, we can press up and down on the player 2 controller to adjust how many chips we have. Not the health, just chips, but we can do it whenever you want, unless you're paused. If you're paused, it doesn't work, which is weird, but it's there at least. So if you ever want to just have unlimited chips, there you go. Perfect option. Just obviously maybe have someone else keep giving you the chips, or use your feet, because you can't really move at the moment. We also have the ability, if you press the A button on the second controller, to just skip past shit. It just beats the stage for you. Attention! Sick kicks! Your energy gun's power has been increased. Round 1 clear. We did so much. Round 2 start. Oh, we can still adjust it. Round 7. That is not round 7. I hate this stage. We're skipping it. I hate this boss. We're skipping it. You can now use the remote control bowl. Yep, that sure was round 4. So if we pick round 4, will it actually put us in round 4 proper now? Oh, no, it is separate rooms. Ooh, okay. So yeah, it is each screen and boss fight. So then by that logic, oh, I'm positive. That's why it won't work. Let me just make sure I'm right on this then. So if I set this back to round 2, this should be the first boss fight, right? No, it's actually round 2. Okay. So I'm not quite sure how this works, apparently. Sometimes it seems like the pointers are in different spots, sometimes they're not. But this seems like something fun to mess around with. There goes that alarm again. All right, well then let's go to, what's a good one to try here? Round Z. This is how we'll end this playthrough. Where are we going? To another crash. Yep, I don't know why I thought anything else would happen other than that. This really feels like the most fitting way for it to end. Other than it just saying on screen, "This is Scott!" Alright, that's it. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. I'll see y'all on the next one shot. Take it easy. It's not coming back. It's gone. It's gone. And this is why I could never turn myself into a computer program, because I would literally kill myself. I would glitch myself out of existence. That's what would happen. The biggest moment of my life, being turned into a computer program, would immediately just break everything. Also known as a Tuesday.